Hey everybody, this is Final Flame Productions, back with another video. Today I'm going to talk about just the basics and some starter tips for people trying to get into the Rockstar Editor. It's something that people have messaged me over the years, trying to learn how to do the basics and just get their feet wet with using the Rockstar Editor. Today I'm using it on the PS5, but it doesn't matter. You can try it on PS4, PC. These are really basic things, so I'm not going to be using any mods for the first few episodes anyway. It's going to be basic things that maybe people. They're tips and tricks that I would give to people that people may disagree with them. People may not like maybe some of the ways I do stuff, but if you're on my channel, that probably means you like my videos, so you'll probably be interested in how I do things. Hey there, Hirsch. Hey there, Sultaness. How are you guys doing? Can I be heard okay on the stream? Seems okay. So the things I was going to start today is just the basics of setting up the camera for scenes like a conversation between two characters. I was going to try a little bit of a car chase, where to put your cameras then, and I was also going to do a bit of gunplay. So I may do all three of those, but essentially what I'll be showing is where to put the camera, when to maybe make edit points. I will preface this by saying that this is on PS5 or PS4, so this is console. So I edit all my videos on my PC, so you can either edit on your PC or computer. I would advise you to edit and get rid of stuff that little shots or little mistakes or little bits that you need to remove on your PC. It's the best way to edit your videos, but essentially what I do is I do all the cinematic bits, I do all the car chases, all the main shots, and then I bring it onto the PC and edit it. So I will start with this. This is just a basic conversation between two characters. Because it's on console, these characters weren't actually speaking to me, but for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to let on that Franklin's speaking to these two characters. So when you come in, we'll start with the basics. When you come in, this will be the game camera. You never want to really use the game camera, because that's I mean, if you're making a movie, if you're making a cinematic, you don't want to use the game camera, because that's the camera that you've seen when you were playing the game. That's gameplay footage. It doesn't look cinematic. If you look at this here, this isn't cinematic. This is just gameplay footage of people, of three characters talking to each other. I mean, you could do that without the Rockstar Editor. It doesn't really look or feel like anything cinematic. Yeah, I'm doing okay, guys. In the comment section here, this is a live stream. If you're watching it after the fact, I'll see how it works on a live stream. Maybe I'll just do it as a solid video, or just how would you say it, a pre-made video. Anyway, so yeah, I was saying, when you go into cameras, camera type, you have game camera, you have free camera, preset front. So that's looking at the playable character that you played as. Preset rear, that's from behind. So if you move around, although he's not moving in this, if you move around, that camera will stay fixated on that spot. Then you have preset right, preset left, overhead, which is the old GTA on PS1 camera angle. So then we're back at game camera. So the one you want is free camera. So what free camera is, that means you can put the camera where you want. So to move it, you got to go down to edit camera. I hope I'm okay at teaching this stuff, because I'm so used to doing it. I'm probably skipping bits that maybe people that aren't used to it would like me to talk about. So anyway, free camera, make sure it's free camera. then go to Edit Camera, and now with the analog sticks, you can move the camera around. You can put it way up high. On consoles, they're going to give you this red zone that's telling you where you can't take it away from. So this is as far as you can zoom out with the. It's on PlayStation. You got L2 and R2 to zoom in. That's zooming in the camera. The camera is still up very high. The camera hasn't moved. You're just zooming. So if I press L2 to zoom out, the camera isn't. This is what I think some people that are getting used to the Rockstar Editor don't realize, that the camera isn't actually moving when you're zooming. So this is the camera zoomed out as far as possible. Now we're going to actually move. There's a difference between moving the camera and zooming the camera, which is probably something I should try to get across first. So this is the camera as far away as possible, I think, and it's zoomed out as possible. So if we move in now toward Franklin, and we move as close as possible to Franklin, you can see there that camera angle doesn't look very cinematic. Like if we turn around to the front of him, that there is, the camera's up close to Franklin, but it's zoomed out with L2. I'm pressing L2 now to zoom out even more, and it can't zoom out anymore, but you can move the camera in more. But that there, I mean, if you look at a movie at a close-up of a character, this does not look very cinematic. That's because you're zoomed out really wide angle. The camera. You have to understand that when you're in the free camera, this is an actual camera that you're using. You have to set it up to make it look cinematic. So at the moment, the camera's in really close, but the zoom is not close. So what you got to do to make it more cinematic, it's going to be up to everybody's personal opinion. For me, I like when it's zoomed in really close. So now we're using R2. Look, see now L2 goes back, zooms out, R2 zooms in. So we're going to zoom in. That's probably too much. So now that's zoomed in as much as possible. And then we move the camera back. Can you see the difference now between, okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. This is, again, these are probably should start with at the bottom of the screen. At the bottom of the screen, you've got the timeline. This is the the bottom screen. You got the timeline. That's the blue bar at the bottom. That's the start of the timeline. You can see there the white. See that white icon that's moving at the bottom. That's where your clip's going to start when you render it or when you play it in the Rockstar Editor. So if the start of your clip's a bit scrappy or not, you don't want it. What you do is, I think it says it at the bottom. See at the bottom it says drag L1 or R1. So you got to move. Hey there, Vintage Productions. Hey there, Colin. Hey there, Orange Domino Studios. So you press L1 or R1 to move this little icon. So we're going to start it around here when Franklin's kind of looking prepared for the shot. And that's the camera angle that I'm probably going to change it a little bit, but that's the camera I like. So we're going to move it down a bit with the analog stick, and we're going to press X to make another white icon at the bottom, or a white marker. Yeah, we'll call them markers. I think that's the right thing. You got markers. So that, see, I'm switching between both icons on the time, or both markers on the timeline. You got this one, and you got this one. So we're gonna move. We're gonna change the second camera angle to go into Edit Camera, and we're gonna press L2, and we're gonna make a really dodgy looking camera that I don't like the look of. And I'm going to compare both of them to show you what it's like. So we've zoomed out with L2, can't zoom out anymore, and we're going to go zoom right, or not zoom, sorry, we're moving with the analog stick in to Franklin's character. So we got that. Look at this camera angle, and then we're going to go to the first marker, and we we got that. So can people see the difference between that look and that look? It's, you may say it's the difference. If you're only getting used to it, you might think, well, what's the real difference? One is, for me, it's the cinematic look is, of course, not every shot has to be zoomed up this close. But it's the sort of, when I'm having characters speaking, that's the sort of angle I go for. If it's a static shot of someone standing there speaking, if you go into any movie, go into edit camera, I mean, you move it back, they might show the character shoulders, stomach up to head. They might go out even further. Show a little bit more, or if it's a really kind of there's a really dramatic kind of, there's a lot of facial expressions in a real movie, you're going to want to get really close to see the characters' expressions. So we got that, and then you see the difference between that. So we don't like that one, so we're going to delete that with triangle. So if you have only one marker in if you're going to one marker on the timeline, it's just going to play the whole way through in that camera angle. So each marker, you can change the camera angle. So we're going to change this. Now the second one's going to be looking at the other character speaking. So we're going to, I think Franklin's talking to the guy with the helmet on. Okay, both of them have helmets on. We're going to talk to this pilot. So what we're missing here, I think, from my opinion, is another thing, is depth of field. If we go back to Franklin, depth of field is what you have in focus, and we're going to try to, just the default one at the moment. If you go into whatever camera angle you're using, and you go to depth of field, and you move through them, there's custom, none, default, custom. If you go to custom and you go down to mode, target. Now target, you can target which character is in focus. You see the way the background of the in custom target. So custom is the focus, mode is target, and then you got to pick your target. So you're going to pick Franklin, or you're going to pick the pilots. Which character do you want to be in focus? So we're going to pick the player. And then it's a little bit blurry, you notice, in Franklin's face. So if you move the camera back a little bit, the background, if you notice there, the background is blurred out, but Franklin's all in focus. So Franklin's speaking there. And then when we go to see the second marker is starts showing. This is the second camera angle, and it shows our pilot dude. Is this okay, guys? Can you hear me okay? Am I making sense? My big thick Irish accent, you might be able to understand what I'm saying. Anyway, so we're gonna see the way Franklin's in focus, as well as the pilot. If we're focusing on the pilot speaking, we want to blur out Franklin a little bit. So we go into, no, it's not edit camera. We go back. So we'll circle. We go back, and we go to depth of field. Those depth of field you're focusing on at the moment. Default, custom. We change it to target. And see the way the moment it's player, so you want, okay, how many targets do we have? We have player, we have one, which I think is our guy, the pilot. Two is the second pilot, and then I think there was a cop in the scene as well. He's the, sorry, go back into depth of field. He's the third target. So actually I think there must be more targets, but anyway, the one we want is this pilot, which if you want to know which target you're on, if you zoom out a little bit, just for the time being, and you go back to depth of field, and you go to focus target. So now number 1 actually is the older guy with the helmet. Number 2 is to target this guy, and that's the guy we want, so we'll keep with that. Go into cameras, edit camera, and we're going to move right in, and as you see here, Franklin is now blurred out, and this pilot here, we're going to call him Tom. So Tom is in focus because he's whatever our target was, he target 2. He's kept in focus. So now in the first marker down the bottom here, Franklin's in focus. And then the second camera, we got this pilot, Tom, I think we called him, and he's in focus in that one. So we're going to add we've added a third camera angle, a third marker. At the bottom there, you see the third marker we're on. Go to edit camera, and now if you got 2 characters speaking, and there's, you could stick to just showing them close up like we have, or you could go back. You could try and switch it up a little bit, maybe a side-on view. Again, my biggest step of the day is zoom in. Not too much. This is probably too much. Oh. We're heading behind this tanker. That's a tanker there. Just watch your obstacles. So you want a little bit zoom out. Use the zoom out here. Now, if you zoom out too much, that doesn't look cinematic. That looks. They call that a fisheye lens, I think, where it's just really way too far out. So you want to be a wide angle, but we move it back here. Where's this tanker? Okay, we're inside the tanker, which could cause bother. So move back a little bit, zoom in a little bit. That shows all the people in shot. So another thing I'll probably try to explain to you is framing. So if you want to keep all these characters central enough. To keep them all in shot. So let's press R2 to zoom in a little bit more. L2, R2 zooms in and out. Probably be a little bit different on Xbox or PC, whatever you're using. So that's our third camera angle. So the characters are just speaking like that. Okay. We're not going to bother with the fight because the fight scene's a completely different kettle of fish. So again, if you want to end, if this last marker here is where this specific scene is going to end. So if you want to finish that or cut that back a bit and shorten it, you could use the L1 button. So we're going to move this back as well before the fight. So we're going to stop it before he punches him, and we're going to move this in as well. So this is our conversation. So you could have any type of interesting conversation for your movie. It shows 2 characters, and then we have this. Not for that last shot. We probably prefer to be a bit longer, but it's that's how I would set up for a typical conversation like this. You start off with your main character speaking, whoever's speaking first. You might want to go back. And you might have another shot in here, maybe in the middle, where it shows the reaction of the person not speaking. That's up to you. What we've learned there is the zooming in and the zooming out, depth of field. See, the background's blurred out, but our character is in focus. And then we have just a wider shot at the end. So that's a pretty simple scene. We'll keep that, save that. And we're going to go to another shot here, which is the car driving, which is a little bit more complex, but it'll be a lot more, in my opinion, there'll be a lot more changes of cameras in a fast-paced car. So again, we come in here, and you see it on the timeline. We got this starter timeline, or we got this marker See the way the marker there, the little white line that's moving down there at the bottom, that's just the current position that it's playing. But we've only got one marker here at the bottom, and then we've got another marker at the right hand side at the bottom screen. So this is where we're going to start. So use L1 or R1 to drag this forward if you need be. So I think we're going to start it after. We're going to start here. Yep, that's where we're going to start it. So we've already got the first marker down in the timeline. That's where the thing's going to start. So we're going to cameras. As I told you, we don't like game camera because it's not what we want. We want to go to free camera. When you go to free camera, then you go to edit camera, and you move the analog sticks around to try and find where you're going to start. So this is a car chase. It's a random car chase. So L1 and R1 as well. Within this, move the camera up and down. That's just moving the camera's height up and down. Welcome to anybody that's started watching in the stream. Thanks for watching. If you've got any question, please let me know in the comments. So moving this up and down with L1 and R1, L2 and R2 zoom in. So again, if you zoom way out like this, it's a little bit too much. Makes everything look very, very small. You zoom in with R2, the camera isn't moving, but the zoom feature of the camera is. So now everything looks a lot more cinematic and kind of cool. So that's that. And if you move out, which you can move out a little bit, but if you move out way too much, it just looks, everything looks kind of, if you see the camera, if you see the car moving towards now, sorry, press circle R2 to play. It looks okay, but it doesn't look very cinematic. I'm going to start there again, and we're going to go into cameras, edit camera. We're going to zoom in a bit more. So this is where we're going to start this scene. We'll press play now. Now he kind of drives through the camera, which is a little bit of a problem. We don't want him to drive through the camera. Don't think that looks good. So we're going to go back here again, and we're going to try now is I'm going to show you how to blend two cameras together. That's to start at one. That's to start at one position with the camera, and then a couple of seconds later end up at another position. Go. So we're going to move right in front of the car. So the car is going to drive straight at our imaginary camera. So that's where we're going to start it. Press circle, go back, and we're going to play this now. Now see the way he drives right through, and we're kind of, it glitches through the camera. It doesn't look very good. I'm going to take this back a little bit. So now we're going to press play. Now what we're going to do before he goes through and hits us, we could change to a completely different camera angle. And that's what we're going to do. Press X to add a marker. Cameras, edit camera, and now we're going to move over to the left. Might be a little bit too quick. So now if we go back to the first one, we've got two cameras there, but look at this now. You press play. That didn't work. So what we want there is for that first marker, that first camera to blend into the second camera. So how to do that, you need to go into cameras, blend mode. Now what blend mode means is that it's how do you blend two cameras together to make it look like you haven't changed between two different camera shots. You're just moving seamlessly. It blends to each position. It blends from one position to the other. So what we want here, I like to use linear. So if you start with linear, so that's, as you notice here, if we switch between two markers, that's two markers at the bottom there. look up there when it look just where it says blend mode. I've turned on linear, and you go to the next. Press R1 to go to the next marker. That's the second marker. It says none. Go back to the first one. It says linear. So that means that this marker here is going to move and blend into the next one. So let's see how that looks. Now you see that it moves from one camera to the other, but it looks a little bit janky, a little bit too. It's a little bit doesn't have a lot of time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to move. Oh, sorry. What we're going to do is we're going to slow it down the speed, which is something that you can use sparingly. Maybe not too much, but you can. This is the speed of how the video or your movie plays. So we're going to turn this down to We're going to try 35. See, now we can see what's really happening there. That first marker, that first camera starts here, and then it blends over to the second marker, which is slightly over to the left, so that the camera doesn't drive through our imaginary camera, and that makes it look. If it did that, it kind of looks janky. So it moves over. You can even see in the slow motion the bullets hitting the car. Now, what do we do there? What would be the nicest way, in my opinion? So it moves over a little bit, and when it gets to that camera, what we're going to do now is we're going to add in a third camera angle by pressing X. See the way we're moving that marker now? We want to move that marker right up against. See there, it's moving right up. This third marker, see the one I'm moving at the bottom here? We're going to move that marker right up against our second one. You won't even be able to see the second one now. But if you press, so first of all, we'll change. This is the third marker we're on at the moment. We're going to change that. We're going to edit that camera, and I think we have to do something really different so we know we're changing. So we're going to go behind the camera, or behind the car, sorry. So look at now, you can only see 2 markers down there, but there's actually 3. So if we press L1, go back to start, that's our first marker, second marker, and third marker. We'll see what that looks like to play. If we play it through, it drives, it moves over to the second marker, third marker comes into play. We're going to slow it all down because the cars are driving really, really fast. So we're going to go down to 35 speed. So look at this now. Car's driving towards the camera, moves over a little bit to the left, then we change it to the third camera. And now we're going to press X again. That's our fourth camera angle in this scene. Now I'll show you how to, in a car chase, especially in a car scene where someone's driving. As you see here, we're right up close looking at our driver, so it's always good when you're doing a car chase to show who's actually driving. Sometimes I see people when they're doing the Rockstar Editor, there's a car chase, but you can't really see who's driving, their facial reactions and stuff like that. So it's always good to go back every so often and show who's actually in the car driving. So this is Michael, and we're going to zoom in. This is way too close. We don't even know what the hell he's doing. Whereas with this here, we see him he's in the car. He's in the white car. He's driving. So that's our fourth camera angle. But if we press play, look what happens. The camera stays in the one position, but the car drives way off. So what we want there is to show him driving, but for the camera to follow him. So to do that, we're on the marker we want, which is him driving. We go into cameras, and we go move with target. So target again, our target can be either this character, which is Michael, in this car, or it can be some people like the policeman or another nearby car or civilian. So we're worried about Michael, which is the player. So watch this now. We've turned on move with target and move with player. If we press play now, as you notice now, the camera is staying with Michael, and as he's driving along, the camera is sticking with him. And as long as we have the camera faced up to look at him, it should look pretty cool. The problem is now in a car chase, he's driving straight there, which is fine. Once he starts to kind of move around and rotate a bit, it looks a little bit too kind of fixed, or a little bit, it's not what I like to do there, the mount type. So flexible means that when the car is rotating around, that it's sort of your character is sort of rotating around that spot. If you go to rigid, that means that it's going to stay on this angle completely. So you watch now when he's driving, and he starts to rotate around a little bit. Watch now what happens. The car starts to rotate a little bit. It's still fixed on that spot. It's not rotating around. It's fixing on that spot. So we got a little bit of that. We're going to add in a fifth camera. A little bit of the car chase. Now this is really slowed down. But that's just, with a car chase you probably want to be a lot faster. But just to show you this tutorial, I'm going to stick with a lot slower. Maybe we'll bump it up to 50. That's speed, 50%. Now we're going to, we've had close-ups of the driver, we've had close-up shots of the car itself. So we're going to zoom way out now. Press R2. Don't like that. It's okay to have a camera that's following the target from far out, or sorry, from close in. From far out it looks a little bit kind of this following looks a little bit, doesn't look very cinematic. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off move with target. So now he's driving and it's not following him anymore. But what we're going to do is we're going to blend again. So let's have him drive around. Add in another marker, camera angle. Edit camera. I'm going to turn around so it moves around, and it turns around as it rotates around, and it follows the character going up here this way. So again, we start here. It's not blending, so I'll go into this camera angle marker, cameras, and go to blend mode, linear. Press play now and see now it rotates. Don't like the way the I don't like here the way the camera goes too low. See the way the car goes too low out of shot. Doesn't really look very good. So we're going to lower this down a bit and watch what happens now when we play it. It's still not to my liking. So edit camera, we're going to rotate that down a bit. Still not much to my liking. We got, I think that second camera shot's a little bit too quick. Oh, now that's a lot better there. It's not perfect, but it's better. So again, this is just going to show this off again. Starts off close up of the car driving past. Switch to behind. Close up of our driver, our hero, or our villain, whatever he's going to be in your movie. Then we got this. We got this wide shot of the car and the pursuing policeman behind him. So I think that's a good start off point for a car chase. And again, you can go to the very last marker, and that's the very end of the bit I've recorded. We'll take this way back. So we want to shorten the whole clip, whereas I'm not going to edit this whole entire chase. But again, this is all we've done here. That's 6 or 7 markers. You see the markers down there, the white little icons at the bottom. That's our camera angles. That's when the camera changes or goes to a different position. You can ignore that last bit. That last bit there can be edited out on your PC or laptop. So yeah, that's a car chase. Any questions from the guys in here watching? We're going to add in another shot here. I think this last one is the helicopter explosion. That's our third scene. So this is the first one, first little scene here, the first little clip is our speaking scene. Second is the car chase. Third is our helicopter explosion. So we're going to move this along, and so look at this now. Whoa, you can see the rocket there. Kind of cool. Okay, so we start again with our first marker. So essentially all you need to learn in this lesson is put down your marker, second marker, third marker, fourth marker, how many markers you need. You'll know as you start your timeline. So this is your first one. You in the cameras, free camera, edit camera, and then move around. So for this we're going to start, because he's already aiming, so we're going to show people what he's aiming at. So we're going to go over his shoulder and zoom in, but make sure that we're not going to show the helicopter straight away. Okay, we got that plane in the background. Always watch if you're doing a film, and there could be airplanes in the sky in the background, which may not be, you may not want. So we're going to move him in front of that. So we're going to start showing Michael. And now the second camera is just before he fires the rocket. And we're going to move this along. He's getting shot at here. You see the blood splattering. So this camera here, the second camera, we're going to delete all these ones I added in, but just as I was showing examples there. So we got this first one, which just shows him. And we're going to hide the helicopter completely by zooming in. And then the second camera angle shows Michael and the helicopter. And to blend those in, you got to go to the first camera, what you're starting on, blend mode, linear, and then we're going to blend right into this. Again, a little bit too quick. I'm going to add that down. We're going to put that down to 50, and this down to 50 as well. That's the speed. That's the speed of which it's going to play. So look at this now. Moves in. Now, that's actually kind of cool, because the rocket being fired is completely unshot. Hey everybody, if people are watching, thanks for joining. This is just a tutorial, of the Rockstar Editor, tips and tricks showing how to do some of the basic stuffs. So we start with this, we blend in, we show the rocket being fired. We're maybe going to change then. Rocket being fired. We've now added in a third camera angle, edit camera, and now we're going to try to, I don't think we can go up this far. Nope, we can't go this far. I was going to go behind the helicopter, maybe I think the best bet is, this could be kind of cool, something like this, where it shows both, maybe not, yeah, maybe something like that. Zoom in a little bit, tilt it a little bit. You can tilt the camera, see it, or is it like a roll? They call it a roll at the bottom, but I would call it a tilt. You can tilt it upside down, which I don't think you really want for this. Tilt a little bit, zoom in a little bit, move it down with the camera down, a little bit over. Now, watch this now. We start here, we play it through, fires a rocket. Now, it explodes. So when it explodes, we're going to add a fourth camera marker, and I think we're going to get a more close-up shot over the shoulder. Or maybe we'll go under the explosion and show all the explosion and destruction in its glory. So first marker over the shoulder of the rocket about to be fired. Second one, we skip on helicopter and rocket. Third one is a wide shot of the helicopter about to be exploding. And the fourth one is the explosion. So we're going to play that through, see what it looks like. That looks pretty cool. We're going to blend it, and then we're doing another blend here. So when it explodes, we're going to follow that down and zoom in a little bit to the police. I think the policeman falling out of the exploding helicopter. Again, we were going to need to blend those two. So blend. Now let's watch what we got here. Fire, explosion, close up, zoom in. That's pretty cool. Let's look at what we've made so far by exiting saving. Make sure to save it. Full screen preview to just kind of get a flavor of what your video is going to look like. Let's see what this looks like now. So we start. Whoops, sorry. So this is the speaking scene.
I know.
Now we go on to our second scene, which is the car chase with Michael. We got our close-up of Michael, and we got the high shot of him driving past, being chased. That's the end of that scene, and then we go on to our third scene, which is the helicopter explosion. So it's pretty simple. It's not that hard to get your head around. We're going to go back out of that again. We're going to just go back in before I finish this first episode. Edit clip. So, just show you a few different things here. As I showed you, L2 or 2 to zoom in and out. You can zoom in and out. But make sure that if you're zoomed out, moving in isn't really going to give you a cinematic look. That's not too bad. We moved in here, but we zoom out too far and we move in. That doesn't look very cinematic. But watch this, if we press R2 and move out as well a little bit and zoom in, move out. That looks a lot more cinematic. Another little thing you can try out is the shake feature, handheld, drunk, We'll use handheld and we'll bump it up to a 6 strength. That's a wee bit too much shaking that. Go into camera again. I'm going to do a 4 shake maybe. So it's shaking a little bit, but not too much that it's going to be distracting, which we don't want. So that's just the first episode. That's the basics of setting up cameras, framing your shot with your characters correctly, keeping things in focus, depth of field, blur out the background, focus in on your character. Speed, if you want it to be a little bit slower, it probably doesn't work for dialogue scenes, but it's good for maybe fight scenes or car chases where you want to slow down certain parts so you can maybe see the action a little bit for a little bit longer than maybe if it was going full speed. If you want to set the thumbnail of this specific scene to maybe this, just press set thumbnail. Then if you exit out, see the thumbnail's been changed to that. So if you're going through, maybe if you have 20 or 30 of these little different scenes, the thumbnail is a nice way of being able to make out which one you're actually about to go in and edit. So that's all we're going to do today. If you'd like to see more of these tutorials talking about the basics, and maybe as we go on we'll do a little bit more interesting stuff. Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Let me know in the comments section, drop a like, leave a comment. Let me know what other stuff you want me to talk about. If you've seen my other videos, ask some questions about what stuff you'd like me to show you to do, or maybe things that you're not so sure of. But that's all we're going to do today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.